Skinwalker Encounter by King 517. This story is probably the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. I live in Montana, where people are known for sighting tiny people in the mountains and skinwalkers. This story is about a skinwalker. I didn't really know what a skinwalker was until I encountered one. Me and at least 5 other people decided to go out and have a few drinks to celebrate one of our buddies' birthday. We'll call him Bill. It was July 15th, 2017. We were all over at his house smoking weed and having a few beers. One of my buddies said we should go out and do some scary stuff to see who chickened out first. Everyone agreed, being the cross-faded people we were. Bill said that there was an abandoned barn on his land, and his parents always told him never to go out there because of reasons. He said he will tell us the reason on the way. We all get up and we leave, and we start walking towards the barn. The barn was at least 20 minutes away. It was nothing but grass and open fields because he lived on what used to be a farm, so there was a lot of acres of land. Bill started to tell the story of his great-great-grandfather and how he used to beat his wife in the barn to teach her lessons. But one day, once he finished beating her, he chained her up. His fingernails started to turn black, and he started to scream that he was on fire as his skin slowly turned more and more black from the fingertips all the way up to his head and covered his whole body, like he was getting burned. Once the story was finished and we got to the barn, we looked all over it, and it was exactly as you would think a barn would look, painted red and really, really old. Now this was maybe 9 o'clock at night, so it was pretty dark. Bill walked up to the door and we all followed as he opened the barn door, and he unchained it from the barn and it falls flat on the ground. If one of us had stood in front of the door, we would have been killed if we weren't careful. We continued on into the barn. It was quiet, no bugs, no rats, nothing to be heard. We walked around the place. One of our buddies pulls out a phone and he shines a light around so that we could see. He shines it at the horse entrance to the farm. The door was at the back. And that's when we saw a tall, white figure. Its eyes glowed like someone was taking a picture of a cat. Its back was arched up as it crawled on its 2 legs and 2 long arms. The arms had huge claws on them, almost like a wolf's, but without the fur. And it just stared at us. It was staring right at me. I was dazed in fear, and one of my friends had to knock me out of it, and then we all ran. Once we left the barn, I looked back, and I saw it staring at us from the front doors where the barn door had fallen down. It cracked its neck to the side. You could hear it crack its neck from at least a mile away. It was that loud. We ran all the way back to the house, not looking back after that. We all decided to stay out in the living room. We figured that was the smartest thing to do since we were all in a group. One of our friends said that he couldn't sleep on the floor, and he begged Bill to let him use his room upstairs to sleep. Bill let him. We all fell asleep about an hour later. We woke up around 3:30 in the morning to hear an old man screaming from Bill's room. It wasn't his father, he was out of town. Nor was it our friend. We all tried to get into the room, but it was locked. I told everyone to back up as I kicked down the door and barged into the room to see our friend curled up in the corner, covering his face with his knees. We all walked over to him and tried to convince him that it was just us, that he was okay, but he pushed us away and said to leave him alone. We left the room not knowing what had happened as we heard the front door open and something heavy barged out of the house. We ran outside with our flashlights and we saw the white creature that we had seen before, heading back to the barn. It ran like it was jumping, almost like a lion does, but there were long jumps in this run. Our friend still doesn't want to talk about what he saw that night, and when he starts to remember it, he starts to throw up and become scared. I tried to start talking about the story when I was camping with friends a few months after that, and they told me that I had encountered a skinwalker. We've never gone back to that barn since.